The day I found out, I didn't scream, I didn't throw things, I didn't even cry. I just sat there at my kitchen table in Charlotte, North Carolina, holding my coffee with both hands, staring at my laptop screen, and I thought, okay, so that's how we're doing this. She was my best friend of 11 years, he was my husband of 4, and they had been doing this for 8 months. 8 months. But here's what they didn't know. They didn't know that I had already seen everything, every text, every Venmo payment he hid under Fantasy Football League, every hotel receipt I found while doing our taxes. They didn't know that while they were busy destroying my life, I was quietly, carefully, patiently building the case that would destroy theirs. But before I tell you what happened next, where are you watching this from right now? Drop your city or state in the comments below. I read every single one. And if you are new here, hit that subscribe button. We drop revenge stories every week that will leave your jaw on the floor. Let me take you back to 3 years ago, because you need to understand what I thought my life was before I tell you how completely it all collapsed. My name is Cassie. At least that's what we'll call me today. I was 31 years old, living in a beautiful craftsman house in the Noda neighborhood of Charlotte. I had a job I genuinely loved, senior account manager at a mid-size marketing firm downtown. I had a husband named Derek who coached youth soccer on weekends and made the best smoked brisket you have ever tasted. I had a best friend named Amber who had been by my side since our sophomore year of college at UNC. Life was not perfect, life is never perfect, but it was mine, and I was proud of it. Amber and I had the kind of friendship that people write about. We had a standing Tuesday lunch date at this little Thai place on Central Avenue. We did Target runs together every single Saturday morning. You know the ones, where you go in for shampoo and somehow leave with a throw pillow, a candle, 3 sets of kitchen towels, and $40 worth of stuff you absolutely did not need. We had a group chat with 2 other girls from college called the Chaos Committee, and we talked in it every single day. She was the maid of honor at my wedding. She gave a speech that made everyone cry. She held my hand when my mom was in the hospital 2 years ago. She was the first person I called when I got my promotion. Derek and Amber knew each other, obviously. They had always gotten along fine. He would tease her about her obsession with reality TV. She would tease him about his obsession with the Panthers. Normal stuff. Nothing that ever set off a single alarm bell in my head. Not one. Derek was a project manager at a construction firm. Good salary, stable. We had a joint account, separate spending accounts, the whole responsible adult setup. We were saving for a trip to Italy for our 5th anniversary. We had a dog named Biscuit, a golden retriever mix who believed with his whole heart that he was a lap dog despite weighing 62 pounds. I know what you're thinking. It sounds almost too good. And maybe it was. Maybe I was so busy enjoying what I thought I had that I stopped paying attention to what was actually happening right in front of me. But I don't blame myself for that. Not anymore. I learned to stop doing that a long time ago. It started with a Venmo notification. Not even a dramatic one, just a small, weird, easily explainable one. Derek had sent a payment to someone I didn't recognize, an account with a generic username. $40 labeled dinner. I asked him about it casually that night while we were watching TV. He said it was a buddy from work. They had grabbed burgers after a job site visit. His buddy had fronted the cash. Simple, normal. I forgot about it by the next morning. $60. Gas. Then 90. Fantasy football dues. And something in the back of my brain, something quiet and animal and protective, started paying closer attention. I am not a suspicious person by nature. I want you to know that. I have never been the type to go through someone's phone or check receipts or track locations. That was not who I was. But something felt off in a way I could not name, and once you feel that feeling, you cannot unfeel it. One afternoon in early March, Derek was in the shower and his phone buzzed on the nightstand. I wasn't trying to snoop. I was walking past. The notification was just there, right on the screen, a text preview. It said, "Last night was everything. Miss you already." I stood completely still for what felt like an hour, but was probably 4 seconds. Then I walked to the kitchen, poured myself a glass of water, drank the whole thing standing at the sink, looking out at the backyard, where Biscuit was chasing a squirrel. And then I went back, picked up his phone, and I looked. I will not describe everything I read. I cannot. Even now it is too much. but I will tell you this. It had been going on since the previous July. 8 months. And the person on the other end of those messages? Her contact name in his phone was Mike S. But the messages were signed with a single letter. A. It took me another 48 hours to be completely certain, but I was certain by the end of it. It was Amber. I found the hotel receipts buried in a folder in our shared Google Drive labeled House Maintenance. I found a deleted photo album on our shared iPad that he thought he had emptied but hadn't fully cleared from the recently deleted folder. I found a credit card statement for a card I did not know he had opened. A separate card, in his name only, with charges at restaurants we had never gone to together. A jewelry store in South Park. A weekend stay at the Kimpton Hotel uptown. I sat in my car in the parking garage at work, and I shook so hard my teeth chattered. And then I did the thing that surprises people most when I tell this story. I did not call him. I did not call her. I did not post anything. I did not tell a single soul. I drove home. I made dinner. I watched TV next to Derek like nothing had happened. I texted Amber a meme from the Chaos Committee group chat and used 3 laugh-cry emojis. And I started making my plan. I held it together for exactly 9 days. 9 days of sleeping next to someone who was lying to my face. 9 days of exchanging normal texts with someone who had been in hotel rooms with my husband. 9 days of performing the role of happy wife, happy friend, happy woman with a full life. On day 9, I drove 40 minutes to my Aunt Renee's house in Concord, and I sat at her kitchen table, and I cried for 2 hours straight. Renee is 63 years old. She is the kind of woman who has been through things. A divorce, a bankruptcy, a breast cancer diagnosis she beat at 58. And come out the other side not bitter, but absolutely razor sharp. She made me tea. She handed me a dish towel because she was out of tissues. And she let me fall apart completely before she said a single word. When I finally stopped, she looked at me for a long moment, and she said, "Are you done?" I said yes. She said, "Good. Now, what do you want?" And I said I wanted them to hurt the way I was hurting. She nodded slowly. She said, "Then stop crying and start thinking. Crying is for after. Right now you need to be smarter than both of them combined. And baby, that is not going to be hard." That was the moment. That was it. Something shifted in my chest, like a lock clicking open. I drove home that night different than I had driven there. Quieter, calmer, focused in a way that almost scared me. I was not going to blow this up in a fit of rage and walk away with nothing. I was going to be methodical. I was going to be patient. I was going to document everything, protect myself legally and financially, and then, and only then, I was going to light the whole thing on fire and watch it burn. The first thing I did was call a divorce attorney. Not to file, not yet, just to understand exactly where I stood and what I needed to do to protect myself. Her name was Patricia. She explained community property, asset division, what documentation I would need, and she sent something I wrote down and kept. The spouse who plans first wins. I spent the next 3 weeks doing 3 things simultaneously. First, I quietly moved half of our joint savings into a personal account Renee had helped me open at a completely different bank. This was fully legal. Patricia confirmed it, because the money was equally mine. I did it in small transfers over several days, so it did not trigger any flags. Second, I started documenting everything. Every suspicious Venmo charge, every hotel receipt. I took photos of the credit card statements. I wrote a dated timeline of every piece of evidence I had found. Patricia said I did not need proof of the affair to get divorced, but she also said it never hurts to be thorough. Third, and this is the part people cannot believe, I started quietly talking to Derek's boss. Here is something you need to know about Derek's firm. Their code of conduct explicitly prohibits employees from using company vehicles or company time for personal activities. And I had found buried in those same receipts 3 separate occasions where Derek had checked into a hotel between 11 a.m. and 3 p.m. on weekdays, workdays, when he was supposed to be on job sites. I got very friendly with Derek's project coordinator, a kind woman named Louise who I had met at a company Christmas party 2 years prior. I started texting her occasionally, nothing suspicious, just warm check-ins. I was planting seeds. Now, here is where it almost fell apart. One evening, about 2 weeks into my plan, Amber texted me asking if I wanted to do our Tuesday lunch that week. And I almost said something. My fingers actually typed out half a response before I deleted it. I was so close to breaking, to screaming everything at her through the phone. Instead, I typed back, "Yes, can't wait, I have so much to tell you," and I sent a heart emoji. I put my phone down. I refocused. Not yet. I filed for divorce on a Tuesday morning in May. Derek came home that evening to find a process server had already visited his office. He called me 17 times. I let every single call go to voicemail. Patricia had already sent a full financial disclosure request, including documentation of the secret credit card, the hidden Venmo account, and the unexplained cash withdrawals, totaling over $6,000. The same day I filed, Patricia sent a letter to Derek's firm's HR department, not from me personally, but raising a formal inquiry about the potential misuse of company time and vehicles, with specific dates included. Derek was put on administrative leave within the week, pending an internal investigation. He was not fired immediately, but the investigation made it impossible for him to function normally. The project he had been leading, a major commercial contract worth a significant bonus, was reassigned. He lost the bonus, and then 3 months later, he lost the job entirely. When the investigation concluded, he had falsified site visit logs on multiple occasions. Now, Amber. I had been sitting on something for weeks, something I had found in those early days of going through Derek's phone. A screenshot he had taken of a text exchange. Why do people screenshot their own incriminating conversations? I will never understand. In which Amber had talked about a situation at her own job. Specifically, she had described exaggerating her sales numbers in a report to her regional manager to secure a quarterly bonus she had not legitimately earned. Amber worked at a medical device company. Falsifying sales data in that industry is not just an HR issue, it is a compliance issue, a serious one. I sent an anonymous tip to her company's compliance hotline. I included the screenshot, which Derek had helpfully stored in that deleted photo album, as an attachment. The investigation took 6 weeks. Amber was terminated. Her professional license in her state was flagged. She had to hire an attorney. And then, because I believe in finishing things completely, I sent a single text to the Chaos Committee group chat, just me and our 2 other college friends. I shared the screenshots of the hotel receipts, the texts, the dates, everything. I said nothing dramatic. I just said, I thought you both deserved to know why I'm going through a divorce and why Amber is no longer someone I can have in my life. I love you both, that's all. The group chat exploded. Our friends were devastated. Word spread through our college friend group within 48 hours. Amber lost not just her job and her professional standing. She lost nearly every friend she had. Derek got the divorce papers. He fought the settlement for exactly 3 weeks before his attorney apparently advised him that fighting a spouse with documented evidence of hidden assets and documented misconduct was not a battle he was going to win. He signed. That was 14 months ago. Today I am sitting in a new apartment in the Plaza Midwood neighborhood of Charlotte, a place that is entirely mine, decorated exactly the way I want, with Biscuit asleep across my feet. I got the dog in the settlement, obviously. I got a settlement that covered 4 years of what I had contributed to our joint life, and then some. I have the Italy trip fund sitting untouched in my personal account, and I am going next spring, not for an anniversary, just for me. I might go alone, I might bring Renee, I haven't decided yet. I got promoted at work 6 months ago, senior director. I earned it before any of this happened, and I reminded myself of that every day when I felt like I was falling apart. Derek, from what I understand through the grapevine, is renting a room from a friend. He has been unable to find work at a comparable level since the termination. The professional reputation he spent 12 years building took a significant hit. Amber and I have not spoken. I do not know exactly where she is professionally now. I know the investigation outcome was not favorable. I know our mutual friends have not forgiven her. I don't wish her suffering exactly, but I don't lose sleep over her consequences either. She made choices. Choices have weight. Renee asked me recently if I feel better. I thought about it for a long time before I answered. I said, not better exactly. Different. Stronger. more honest about what I will and will not accept in my own life. That felt true. And that is her story. Now I want to hear from you. Do you think she went too far? Or did they deserve every single thing that came for them? Drop your honest opinion in the comments below. I personally reply to every single comment on this channel, so your comment will not go unread. And while you are down there, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. We post new revenge stories every single week, and trust me, you do not want to miss what is coming next. Check out our other stories on the channel. Every single one of them will have you saying, they had it coming. And finally, to every single person watching this right now, remember this. The people who betray you are not your loss. They are your lesson. You are not broken. You are being rebuilt. And when you rise, and you will rise, they will have no choice but to watch. Stay strong, stay smart, and never let anyone make you forget how dangerous a quiet woman can be. Until next time, take care of yourself.